Welcome to Roosevelt Evening News. I'm Dominic Nguyen.
And I'm Heather Ralston, and today we will be bringing you the latest happenings surrounding Roosevelt and the world.
Our first story today takes place at Roosevelt University, where students are working to make a difference in the lives of Syrian refugees. Here's reporter Megan Schuler with the story.
The IMC Campaigns class, taught by Lee Earle, is raising money for African refugees. Here's what students had to say. More about that?
Yeah, so we're actually focusing on Camp Kukuma. It's Kakuma in Africa, and we're focusing on their education. A lot of people tend to kind of overlook that. When they think of refugees, they're like, oh, they just need shelter, water, and food, and no one really puts importance on their education. So what we're doing is we're kind of raising awareness on the importance of education and kind of showing people that that's really their only way out, you know? So.
I'm Megan Schuler, Roosevelt University.
Thank you, Megan. The journalism department will have to find a new home as Roosevelt University sells its Gage building.
To learn more, we sent reporter Lauren Grimaldi to find out where the department will be moving.
At a recent faculty senate meeting, Roosevelt University announced that the Gage building will be sold. This means that the departments held in the Gage building will now be moved to the auditorium and Wabash buildings located down the street. We asked members of the Department of Communication how they feel about this move.
I was at the Senate meeting where it was announced that everybody, all of our units that are located in the Gage building are going to have to be relocated this summer. Their plan is to vacate this building so that they can show it and sell it more quickly that way. I think that's the idea. So they can stage it for different kinds of business as opposed to our own business. We don't know anything yet about where we're going to be relocated to. I have been told that we're going to have our same lab setup, which is the 2 lab classrooms and the open lab that we always have for our students. Over in the auditorium building, I'm actually supposed to be seeing some of those spaces later this week. So it's in process right now. We will be moving. Yeah.
Some members of the department were unsure of how they felt about the move. Others welcomed the change.
Well, I do like the Gage building, but I have worked in the auditorium building for about 8 years before coming over here. It's been a year of me working in this building, and while it is nice and clean and the location is really prime down, I miss working in the auditorium building because there's a lot more action going on.
It's heartening. It was already very difficult for us to have a community and a platform for us to have self-expression. So the fact that we're going to be crammed, most likely, in a building that already doesn't have room, it kind of worries me. It worries me to wonder where the intention of the university is. If it's not in the aspect of the students, then what is it? I'm a part of the Blaze, and it's a very big department, and I think that it needs its own space, and us kind of being pushed to a building that already has so many different departments kind of makes me feel like they don't understand how important it is to have our own space.
For Roosevelt University, I'm Lauren Grimaldi.
Thanks, Lauren.
Roosevelt students can now take some interesting classes as Roosevelt University plans on unveiling some new courses for the fall semester. Earlier today, we sent Megan out to learn more about what these courses offer.
Right now, this is an empty classroom, but next semester, it'll be filled with students taking new classes, like the Hamilton class and the editing class. Roosevelt's offering several new classes this semester that previously haven't been offered. We talked to several students and professors about these new classes. Here's what they had to say.
Course offerings at Roosevelt.
I think it's a good opportunity for students to learn a little bit more in depth to their specific field. However, some classes that might not be necessary might not get the proper funding for it, so it's 50-50, but I'm all for it, honestly.
Perfect, thank you.
It gives a lot of students different options on their paths to different careers, which I think is valuable. Roosevelt, I think, captures that.
Well, the class is Journalism 350, the editing class, and it hasn't been offered in a little while, I think mostly because I'm the main person who taught it, so I wasn't teaching very much, it just didn't come up. But the class is focused on improving writing. So we do a lot of grammar, which I know intimidates some people, but just keep in mind that it's good for you. Punctuation, spelling, revising, do a little bit of research so students know what kind of research materials are best for whatever they're doing. Lots of deadline work, so working on stories and trying to improve them. And generally, I think in the past, students have come back and said, well, grammar's really awful, but I really feel like I accomplished something. So that's what I hope people get out of it. It's a good class. We have a lot of fun. It's not a writing class, so people should keep that in mind.
Students also gave input as to what they thought would make a great course at Roosevelt.
I like some quirky ones about finance, like Freakonomics. It talks about the study of economy and just like theories out there that are very different to the ones that we have today.
I'm Megan Schuler, Roosevelt University.
Thanks, Megan. I'm sure excited to see how these new classes turn out. I wish there was a class on chugging coffee.
Yes, you'd sure be able to ace that.
Here are your travel times for this morning. Travel time is 22 minutes inbound on the Kennedy from O'Hare to I-90 or the Jane Byrne interchange. 10 minutes inbound from O'Hare to Montrose. Outbound on the Kennedy, we're seeing an 18-minute ride from the Jane Byrne interchange to O'Hare. On the Stevenson, we're seeing a 53-minute drive outbound from the Dan Ryan to I-355 and 13-minute travel times outbound on the Stevenson from Dan Ryan to Harlem.
When we return, we'll take you through a train that could get you to Pittsburgh in under an hour.
And you'll hear about the movies in this year's Millennium Park Summer Film Series.
We'll bring you more after the break.
I don't want to study for a math test.
I hate math.
I don't want to study.
Now you don't have to. Huh? Not with Sick Popples.
Sick Popples?
Yeah, the new frozen treat that makes you sick.
What?
Huh? Just pop one in your mouth and you'll be sick all day.
Wow! Chickenpox cherry. Pneumonia orange.
Bleeding gums berry.
I got the pneumonia.
I've got a sore throat.
I got the chickenpox. Yeah!
Just pop, pop, pop one in your mouth and you'll be too sick to go to school.
Bye-bye, math test. Later, homework.
Sick Popples. They're icy cool and they'll get you out of school. Now in Measles Mango. Yeah!
Lick till you're sick.
Sick Popples from Disease Co.
Big soft chunk bubblegum keeps it popping.
This is a chunk of super soft bubblegum bubblegum. This is a loud thumping tube pumping boombox. Both are known for blast. But on the yum is the fun that never blows out. Big mouth busting bubblegum keeps it popping. You know, in some ways, life is like a really cool game. You make the right decisions and you win big. You make the wrong one and you lose. Whoa! Of course, if you lose a game, you can always play again. But life's not really a game. That's why you have to decide against taking drugs, smoking, and drinking. Hey, life's more than a game. It's an adventure. I'm Jonathan Taylor Thomas asking you to make the right decision right now.
Welcome back to Roosevelt Evening News. Before the break, we highlighted a super fast train that could get us to Pittsburgh in under an hour. Heather?
Yes, it's true. Hyperloop 1 wants to make a trip from Chicago to Pittsburgh so short you won't be able to finish an entire movie. Last week, Hyperloop 1 unveiled 11 U.S. teams as part of its Global Challenge, an initiative to develop routes across the world for its high-speed tube transportation system. The Hyperloop Midwest team was selected as one of the routes to move on the challenge. Its plan calls for a 488-mile Chicago to Pittsburgh route with a stop in Columbus, Ohio. At speeds of roughly 750 miles per hour, the Hyperloop system connects passengers from Chicago to Columbus in 29 minutes and Columbus to Pittsburgh in just 18 minutes, meaning Bears fans could catch a game at Heinz Field in less than 50 minutes. Currently, the trip is a 9-hour train ride, 7-hour car ride, and takes an hour and 15 minutes by plane. Hyperloop One is a Los Angeles-based startup that was founded based on a concept formed in 2013. The startup has since then raised $140 million to bring the high-speed train tube system to life.
I think everyone could enjoy a new way to avoid getting bumped on their airline travel.
Very true. Now to Jade with the weather.
I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter weekend. Here is our 5-day weather forecast this week. As you can see, we're in a little bit of an April showers week. For Monday, we have a high of 71 degrees, mostly sunny, with winds west-southwest at 8 miles per hour, with the humidity level at 38%. The low will be around 41 degrees, with a slightly cooler temperature near the lakefront. Tuesday will be partly cloudy, with a high of 74 degrees and a 20% chance of showers. The low will be 60 degrees, with winds blowing south at 16 miles per hour. Expect to maybe see some slight nighttime showers. For Wednesday, there will be thunderstorms periodically. The high will be around 61 degrees with a low of 47 with an 80% chance of showers. Better bring out those umbrellas, Chicago. Winds will be blowing north-northeast at 12 miles per hour with the humidity level at 73%. Thursday, we will have some morning showers, so if you're leaving for work during the morning rush period, be sure to keep those umbrellas with you. The high will be 57 degrees as the low will be 42 with winds blowing northwest at 18 miles per hour. On Friday, we will be on the cooler side of the week. It will be mostly sunny with a high of 50 degrees and a low of 41. Winds will be blowing north-northeast at 14 miles per hour with the humidity level at 56%. It's safe to say we are officially in springtime Chicago. This was your weather forecast for this week. I'm Jade Love. Back to you, Heather and Dominic.
Get your blankets and snacks and bottles of wine ready because Chicago's popular outdoor summer movie series will be soon making its return to Millennium Park. Screenings begin June 13th with Chicago classic Blues Brothers, Mayor Rahm Emanuel's office announced late Sunday. Other popular flicks include the 2017 lineup include Caddyshack, Wayne's World, Hidden Figures, and The Princess Bride. A special full moon double feature will be held on August 8th and feature Ghost and The Shining, according to the announcement. There will even be a daytime screening for families on August 24th, highlighting the 80th anniversary of Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All films are free and start at 6:30 p.m. every Tuesday night at the J. Pritzker Pavilion at 201 East Randolph Street. Seating at the pavilion is first come, first served, or guests can lounge under the stars under the pavilion's great lawn. To see a full lineup, visit the City of Chicago's website.
What movie are you looking forward to?
Well, I can't wait for Wayne's World. You know I like to party.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the full moon double feature.
Hey, all right, there you go. Well, billionaire businessman J.B. Pritzker has contributed $7 million to his campaign for Illinois governor. The donation, confirmed Saturday by campaign spokesman, comes over a week after the Democrat officially launched his campaign to unseat Republican Bruce Rauner. It was already expected to be an expensive race. Rauner, a former private equity investor, put $50 million of his own money into a re-election fund in December. Pritzker is the founder of a private investment firm and heir to the Hyatt hotel fortune. Also running is Democratic businessman Chris Kennedy, who donated $250,100 of his own campaign money and raised $1 million in the first 6 weeks of his candidacy. Other Democrats seeking the nomination in this March primary include Senator Daniel Bliss and Chicago Alderman Amia Pawar.
David Ross may need a spring tune-up, but the retired Cubs catcher survived another week on Dancing with the Stars. The 40-year-old Ross and partner Lindsay Arnold danced the jive to a live performance of Ride by ZZ Ward from the upcoming Cars 3 movie for the ABC competition's Disney Night. Before he danced, Ross complained about his body aches and compared the pain to playing baseball in August. Wearing a red race car-themed jumpsuit, Ross pulled it together for the performance, though, which earned him a 29 out of 40 points. As usual, they praised Ross' energy and charisma, but criticized his footwork. I think he has quite the fan base, especially with all those Cubs fans cheering him on.
Speaking of sports, let's go to Lauren and see what's new.
Thanks, Dominic. The Chicago Blackhawks have been pushed to the brink of elimination by the Nashville Predators in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Hawks did not score in either of the first two games in the series and lost a 2-0 lead in Game 3. Chicago was the favorite to win the series, but they have yet to secure a win in this round. Game 4 is on Thursday at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville at 7 p.m. The defending World Series champions are off to a 6-7 start to their 2017 season. They were swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates at Wrigley Field in a 3-game set. They will play the second game of the series against the Milwaukee Brewers tonight at 7:05 p.m. The Chicago White Sox are 6-6 on the season and currently in the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees. They dropped the first game 4-7. The second game of the series will take place tonight at 6:05 p.m. The Chicago Bulls won the first game of their playoff series against the Boston Celtics this weekend. The 8th seed Bulls beat Boston by a score of 106-102. Game 2 is tonight at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Lauren. After the break, we'll go over what's happening nationally and around the world.
The cereal is so dull. The kids look so bored.
We're failures as parents.
Try this cereal.
Snap, crackle, kaboom!
Now listen. Hear it snap?
Uh-huh.
Hear it crackle?
Sure do.
But what about the...
Wow! When does my cereal bowl Again!
You put the cereal in, you put the milk leave room, then you listen for the snap and the crackle and kaboom!
Can I have some breakfast? Listen. Snap, crackle.
Snap, crackle, kaboom!
I love number 1.
Welcome back. Want the world's best up-close view of a rocket launch without being out of this world? For the first time, cameras provided a live 360-degree video of a rocket heading towards space. NASA provided the 360 stream as an unnamed Atlas rocket blastoff from Cape Canaveral, Florida, with a capsule full of station supplies. The stream began about 15 minutes before the scheduled 11:11 launch and continued after the rocket shot up into the sky. The 4 fisheye lens cameras are located on the outer edge of the pad, approximately 300 feet from the rocket. The computer in a blast-proof box will stitch together the images for a full in-the-round view. There is about 1 minute lag time. Although previous 360 launches have been recorded, none of them have been shot live.
They come up with something new every day, don't they?
Well, I'm certainly glad I can watch it on my own 2 feet and not up on the ground. Off the ground, I should say.
Hey, as long as we're all still standing. The Trump administration and congressional Republicans are continuing their rollback of Obama-era regulations. So far, the President and Congress have used a combination of executive orders, the court system, and a rarely used law known as the Congressional Review Act to nullify so-called midnight policies from President Obama that establish rules governing corporate finance, the internet, and climate change. Many of the policies were previously opposed by major corporations. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson even personally lobbied against one rule designed to force oil companies to disclose payments by foreign governments while still CEO of ExxonMobil. Recently, rules were changed to allow internet service providers to sell customer data, a move which FCC Chairman Ajit Pai has stated will allow fairness among businesses. However, it has been widely denounced by advocacy groups as a violation of consumer privacy. Earlier this month, EPA Chief Scott Pruitt announced a series of efforts to alter the Clean Power Plan, a policy with wide-ranging effects on climate policy from street-level smog to carbon emissions. Pruitt, who is currently under investigation for ethics violations while still a congressman, has previously stated that regulations discourage business and harm farmers. The Trump administration has moved silently through the legal system in an effort to enact these changes, but according to Press Secretary Sean Spicer, it has not tried to hide them.
Here's a little bit from our international news.
As President Trump ratchets up his rhetoric and actions on U.S. adversaries overseas, many are questioning the administration's strategy. Recent U.S. and coalition airstrikes in Syria are described as, quote, decisive actions by the administration officials, and the administration has declined to reveal its plans in fear of, quote, telegraphing U.S. maneuvers to the enemy. In a previously scheduled state visit to South Korea, Vice President Mike Pence toured the DMZ along the 38th parallel and declared that the U.S. policy of strategic patience with North Korea is over. Pence later met with South Korean and Japanese leaders as North Korea's UN representative warned of creating a, quote, situation where nuclear war could break out at any time.
Wow. Well, it looks like politics is not stopping Ivanka Trump business from growing. On April 6, Ivanka Trump's company won provisional approval from the Chinese government for their 3 new trademarks, giving it monopoly rights to sell Ivanka brand jewelry, bags, and spa services in the world's second-largest economy. That same evening, the first daughter and her husband, Jared Kushner, sat next to the president of China and his wife for a steak and Dover sole dinner at Mar-a-Lago. This scenario illustrates how difficult it is for Trump, who has tried to distance herself from the brand that bears her name, to separate business from politics in her new position at the White House. The week of the summit, 3.4 tons of Ivanka Trump handbags, wallets, and blouses arrived in the U.S. from Hong Kong and Shanghai. U.S. imports of her merchandise grew an estimated 40% in the first quarter of this year. Gorelick, Ivanka Trump's attorney, said that Ivanka and her husband would steer clear of specific areas that could impact her business or being seen as conflicts of interest, but are under no legal obligation to step back from whose swaths of policy like trade with China. Under the rules, Trump would rescue herself from conversations about duties on clothing imported from China, Gorelick said, but not broad foreign policy. Now on to more positive news.
Oof, I could use it. The first woman to officially run the Boston Marathon made her triumphant return this past weekend. In 1967, 20-year-old Kathryn Schweitzer was making strides when she became the first woman to officially run the Boston Marathon, even as race officials tried to physically stop her, with someone even trying to tear off her number. 50 years later, now at 70 years old, she donned the same number, lucky number 261, as she finished the race for a second time. According to Schweitzer, she has not participated in a race in over 46 years. This is the 4th year the race has been held after the 2013 bombings that killed 3 people and injured 264. This year, the race was held on April 17th and drew 2,500 runners with over 500,000 spectators.
Well, Boy Meets World star Ryder Strong made a birthday wish come true Wednesday when he sent a special greeting to 13-year-old Alex Hengsterman, who has Down syndrome. Alex's brother reached out to Strong through his Twitter account and started hashtag #RyderForAlex in hopes that the celebrity would send his brother a birthday message. The star was so amazed by the amount of love for this young team and recorded a video message filled with encouragement and birthday wishes. "Dude, you have so many people that love you," Strong says in the video. The actor said that he received call and text from all over the world, alerting him to Alex's story, including from other Boy Meets World alumni. Alex, who turned 13 today, is a die-hard Boy Meets World fan, and his family nothing would make his day extraordinary, quite like a message from Strong, his favorite star. Wow, what a special way to make someone's day.
There never can be enough good in this world.
I completely agree.
Well, that's all we have for tonight's news. Thanks, and you make sure you have a good one.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow night.
Have a good night.